This Stamp Club project is this cute and thirst-quenching card made with celebratory Sips product, both stamps and designer series paper. Let's get started. Hello, I'm Julie, and this is Stamp with Julie Baum. As a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I teach lots of different kinds of classes. One of the things I offer every month is Stamp Club. This is a video that is actually created for my Stamp Club at Home customers so that they can see me make the project and then use their packet at home as they create their projects. I love to share it here though to provide some inspiration for you. Feel free to watch, feel free to craft along with me. So for this card, you're going to begin with a colored cardstock base. There is a variety of colors in your Stamp Club at Home packets. In this packet, my base is Blackberry Bliss. So find your card base. It's 4¼ inches by 11 inches. And you're going to use your Simply Scored or your Stampin' Trimmer with a scoring blade and score and fold at 5½ inches. Then you can use your bone folder to fold and reinforce that crease. All right, then you will find another piece of cardstock that coordinates with your base. You'll also find a piece of designer series paper, and this pattern varies between packets also. So at this point, you should have your card base, your piece of colored cardstock that is coordinating with this cardstock, and also your designer series paper. All right, we're going to go ahead and attach that cardstock layer to the front. You can see you're going to have a nice border all the way around this piece of cardstock. And then you'll take your designer series paper and go ahead and attach it to that panel that we just laid down. And I will put all of the measurements and more information for you in the description box below this video. You can just open that up. I will put information there and also reference where to find more information on my blog. All right, then you have a scrap that's about 3½ inches square, 3¾ inches square. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut it into a large circle. So I used Spotlight on Nature dies and did my circle. If you have a different circle die that you would like to use, you can go ahead and do that at this point. And then we're going to attach our circle to the front of the card. When I attach my circle, I'm looking for the area above it and below it to see if that's about an equal space. And then from side to side, it will basically go from the edge of your designer series paper to the other edge or so. If you're using a slightly smaller circle, just make sure that you look to center it and then get that pressed down. Now, in your packet, you also have a white piece that's going to be for the inside of the card. I'm going to stamp mine. You can use whatever stamps you have that you would like to use. We're using celebratory Cheers and Sips from the Celebratory Sips suite. And so the paper is called Celebratory Sips. The bundle is Cheers and Sips, and there are dies that coordinate with this, although we're not using dies on today's card. I wanted to show you how cute this can be, even if you just get the stamps and the paper. The paper is an absolute must. All right, so this piece, I think I will just stamp with some of the images from that stamp set, and I have Old Olive ink, and I'm going to stamp It's Your Day. And I have Blackberry Bliss ink, and I'm going to stamp Let's Celebrate. I like the tiny font. I just think that's so, so sweet. Now, if you wish, you could also, on your own, add either some more images, or you could add a little strip of the designer series paper here if you want. I'll show you a different one that I did where I added the paper. That one looks like this. So you can see if you wanted to dress up the inside, you could do that, but this strip is not in your packet. All right, also in your packet, you received 2 drink glasses. Now these vary because what I did is I cut them right out of the sheet of the designer series paper. There are pre-printed glasses with drinks in them. These could clearly be cocktails or mocktails if you prefer. Some do not have any garnish already on them and some do. So everybody in their packet got a variety. You got a tall glass and a short glass. You should have ended up with one that has a garnish and one that does not have a garnish, and we are going to add some. So you're just going to take your scissors and you're going to fussy cut those 2 drink glasses out now. As I mentioned, there are coordinating dies, and there is a die that would cut this glass shape right out. You would just, in fact, I'll show it to you. You would just put it onto the paper and put it in your die cut machine. Let me locate that die. And you could die cut this drink glass out. There is also a die for the taller glass, which of course you wouldn't want to use it on the one with the garnish because it will chop it off. But you can see that the dies would give you an option instead of fussy cutting. But again, I'm telling you, I wanted you to see how fun these products are, even if you don't get the dies, which I'm not sure why you wouldn't. But if you want to just get the stamp set and the designer series paper, there are so many adorable images that you can easily fussy cut right out. And that is what I'm having you do. All right, so there's one. And then on this one, of course, because the garnish, I'm gonna cut that out as well. So this one will take just a teeny bit longer. But like I like to remind you, you don't have to be so intricate that you make yourself crazy when you're doing your fussy cutting. I just kind of loosely go around the shape. I don't want to leave too much white, but I do leave a little bit of white edge around the image. Just kind of trimming away as I go. This garnish is a little bit of one of the larger ones. So in your packet, it is either the tall or the short glass that was included for you that has the garnish. On this particular packet, the tall one is the one with the garnish that's already attached to it. All right, so coming down and around that. I decided for the 3 Stamp Club projects this month to give you 3 separate videos instead of one long video with all 3 projects in it. This was a little bit of a learning curve for me because I found that when I then also share sometimes through reel or short, when I share these projects and I get people asking me then for the full tutorial, it might be easier for me to just send them right to the specific video. In June, I had so many requests for those tutorials. And of course, because the 3 projects were all in the same video, I was having to give people the start and stop time limits on the video so they could find what they were looking for. So we're going to try this month and have each of the 3 club projects be its own video. All right, tidying up as I go because it's how I craft and it's also how I cook. I tidy and clean as I go. All right, I've got my 2 drink glasses and you at this point have cut yours out as well. We're going to add those to the front of the card, and there's not really a rule to this. I think you need to take your 2 drinks and lay them out and determine if the tall one is going on the left or the short one on the right, or reverse. You can do whatever you want. I chose this particular packet to share with you because I thought this was a little bit more challenging. There isn't this orangey red in this piece of designer series paper. In the other variety, there is that color. So I wanted to show you that this still looks absolutely amazing, even if the exact color of your drink is not in your piece of paper. For the most part, all the drinks ended up coordinating with the paper perfectly. This one was a little bit more challenging. Not hard, just a little different. Okay, so on this one, I'm going to choose, because of that garnish reaching up and off to the right side, I'm going to put my tall glass on the right. Again, you can decide if you want the tall one on the right or the left. Whichever glass is going down first, I recommend that you just go ahead and attach with glue so that it's flat, or with your Stampin' Seal. So this is going to go right there. Okay, then I'm going to take my second glass. In this instance, my second one is the short one. I'm just going to kind of overlap it here. I'm going to bring it down a little bit lower so that it looks like it's sitting in front of this glass. And on this one, I am going to go ahead and use dimensionals to pop it up. So I'm just going to put 2 on here. All right, so I've made this card a number of times already, and I also have made a similar one. And the only thing I'm thinking about as I'm putting this one together is I might need to put my words someplace different. If my tall glass was on the left and my short glass was on the right, my words would go in one place. If I'm going to do it this way, I might play with the positioning. So we'll see what happens when we get there. Now, also in your packet, you have a small piece of paper like this. It's up to you if you want to go ahead and stamp a greeting on here and then trim it down. I'm actually going to start with a smaller one. So in other words, I'm going to trim this down first to a 1/2 inch, and I'm going to do my stamping on this. I'm using the word cheers from the stamp set, which just barely fits on this 1/2 inch strip. And then I will snip it right out of here, straight on the side of the C. And then on the side of the S, I'm going to do a little banner cut. And as I mentioned a minute ago, on the other cards, I knew right where this was going to go, but I'm going to fiddle with it. Let's see what we've created by switching up the position of the glasses. Okay, now typically if my tall glass is on the left and my short glass is on the right, then I put this here, which might end up working just fine as well. Otherwise, it could go here. That's definitely an option. I wonder if I would have wanted the banner end that way in that case. Should we try one that way just for giggles? Let's do cheers on another strip. I need that strip. Ooh, this one might be too tiny. Let's see. I know the 1/2 inch works, but it might be too short in the length. Let's see what happens if I put the banner in this end. Isn't it fun how you can just experiment? You might find that your first idea was the best all along, and you might find out something wonderful in the process. Okay, I almost always have my banner at the end of the word, and I don't know why. Look at how cute that is. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and determine that this is the one I'm going to go with, but I will show you the second card that has everything kind of reversed, and that way you can decide where you put your words and which direction you want your little banner. All right, before we do that, also in your packet was a little scrap of paper with a bunch of garnishes on it. Your scrap is about this size, maybe a little bit larger. And the reason for that is I want you to feel free to go ahead and fussy cut several of these images. So I'm going to cut out this tall green garnish You can look at it and decide if you want strawberries, cherries, there's lime wedges, there's lemon wheels, there's so many cute little things. There's berries, there's little sprigs with flowers and herbs. So I included that little scrap for you again to see, even without die cutting, you have some adorable little images that you can just fussy cut. Now, in the die set, there are some dies that will cut these images out. So how fantastic is that? All right, so I have that green one as an option. I think I will go ahead and take these strawberries. I want to show you that even if it's on the edge of the paper like this one is, see how that full strawberry is not there? I'm double checking my view. Yeah, you guys can see. You can still be really creative in how you use some of these images, even if they are on the edge of the paper and don't completely show up. So I'm going to show you how to do that with the strawberries. All right, so we've got our green garnish. I've got some berries here. Ultimately, I think you're going to want somewhere between 3 and 5 little images. Here I've got another scrap, and there's a cherry there. So I'll cut that cherry out. So there's a few different strawberries printed on the paper. One of the dies will cut out one of those strawberry shapes. And same thing with the cherries. Like there's this little bundle of 3 cherries, but there's a die that will just cut out a single cherry. For those of you who don't prefer fussy cutting, you'll be really over it by the end of this project. And for those of you who like it, I'm glad you're getting to cut a bunch of things out. All right, there's 3 things. Let's see what else. All right, here's another one. Here's 2 little leaves, possibly mint leaves. They're hanging off the edge of the paper. Instead of discarding them, we're going to use them. All right, I'm going to start fiddling with all my little images here and see what I'm actually going to use and where. Here, from a different piece of paper, this was actually from the page that has the glasses printed on it. There's a bunch of flowers and things in between. So I'm going to use one of the flowers. And look, by doing this, I have a nice variety of colors. I've got pink, red, green. If I cut out one of the purple berries, I would bring in the blackberry color. All right, so as I said, you're going to want 3 to 5 images to play with. You could definitely use more than that, but I think I just want to show you how to have enough that your card doesn't look empty. Okay, so this glass on my from my packet already had a garnish. This one did not. So we're going to want to decorate this one, which I'm going to do first. Then I'm going to use some of the other pieces just to fill in. So see this one, this is a little funky because it was at the edge of the paper, but I'm going to be able to tuck that in like that, and you never knew that it wasn't the full image. Okay, so that's definitely going to go there. Let's see what's going to go in my drink. I was thinking of doing the same thing with the strawberries, hiding the fact that that was on an edge. See, you could tuck your strawberries under there as well. We might end up tucking both of those. Okay, that's definitely an option. Let's see what we're going to do on the actual drink first. So I'm going to take this. Now, I know it can be really tempting, especially if you have a little OCD, to figure out how to make this look like it's in the glass. But I'm telling you, if you just put it on top like this, it looks like it's in the glass. It's fine. You don't want it behind because that definitely does not look right. So you're going to pick your garnish and you're just going to let it lay on top, and it will have the just the look of being inside the glass. All right, so I'm going to use my green one like that to kind of balance this one. And I'm not sure if the strawberries will work because it was from that funky edge, but I might be able to stick the strawberries in my glass, in my drink. Otherwise, let's try the cherry. And the cherry could either be here on the garnish, almost as if there was a little stick holding it together, or I could let the cherry sink to the bottom, which would be cute too. All right, let's just start putting this together and see how we do. So I'm going to put a little glue on the bottom of this one, and I'm going to put a mini dimensional at the top, because as you can see, this one's raised. So the bottom part needs to be flat against the glass, but I need the top part to be raised so it's on the same level as the glass. All right, so we've got that. I don't know, I'm tempted to almost just use the green, but we've got it, so let's see here. I do have that flower also. That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to just drop the little flower in here. I'm sure it's an edible flower, and so it's in the garnish. Cute. Now it looks like a tropical drink with that little flower floating in it. All right, and then let's tuck our little green leaves that at first we thought were going to be problematic, and now you can see that they're absolutely not. And let's see, the strawberries could even be over here. That's kind of cute. I think I'll keep all my images together over here. All right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sacrifice this little guy, the small strawberry, and just keep the large strawberry and add it down here in my little collage. My little collage of fruit and leaves. All right, so you can just play with this and have a lot of fun with the little fruit, flowers, and garnish items. Let's come back to the cheers word, and it's just gonna go right there. Let's double check. We also have this one, because now this is kind of plain over here. We could also come in here. All right, it's a complete toss-up. I'm going to go this way because I've never done it that way before. I always have it going the other way. I need flat on one side, and I need a, oh, goodness. And I need a mini dimensional on the other side. Goodness, I just moved and I pulled my microphone cord and the whole camera went zoop. All right, I'm lining this up on my grid, making my card nice and straight so I can ensure that my words look pretty straight, like so. And then, do we need this cherry maybe? I don't want it in the drink because this looks like a Bloody Mary to me, and you're not going to have a cherry in there. All right, I'm going to leave it. Again, on your card, you can fiddle with it and see what you want where. I think ultimately I would maybe cut out this lime and add the lime over here, but we are going to quit while we're ahead. It looks good. Let me show you the other card so that as you're putting yours together, you can decide which way you want everything to go. All right, so we have this one, and then we have this one. Okay, similarly, I added garnish. This garnish was already part of the image, and there are the words on that side. And that is one of our 3 Stamp Club projects from July of 2025. Thanks for watching.